Hi, good morning, YouTube. Looks like we're live now. Hope everybody had a good weekend, enjoyed your Father's Day. Whether you are a father or were able to celebrate those fathers you do have. Hope it was a good one. Looks like the weather is remaining unsettled over there in the upper Midwest, all upper half of the country. Um, we're going to flip over to some of the news out of that here in a second. But you can see it's quite wet basically all across the northern half of the country. Take your rain gear. It might be hazardous not to have your rain gear. And the Gulf. Looks like the Gulf Coast of Texas is getting quite a bit of stormy weather. Not just showers. So there's that. So rolling into some of the results I saw out of the weekend, some pretty significant flooding out of the Midwest from some of those storms that we were looking at. This is out of Michigan, it looks like. So I saw ZPD had quite a few videos pop up. I don't know if I hit his area or not. But let's roll through this, see what was reported.
In parts of the Great Lakes, especially around parts of Michigan, where we had some really bad flooding. Look at that road just completely torn up there. And unfortunately, we're going to have a chance for some more storms in some of the same spots. We've got this really kind of long horizontal strip of area where we're going to have a chance for not only severe weather, but also storms that'll just produce a lot of rain, and that could cause some flooding issues. I would say we'll have a chance for some hail in parts of the Midwest, but I think the worst storms are going to be in the Northeast, where we have a good chance for some damaging wind, especially as we get later into the afternoon and the evening. I'm going to stop the forecast model at a couple of times here to highlight a couple of points. Number one, again, these really nasty storms in the Northeast, they kind of start in the interior Northeast and then move into New England late afternoon through the evening. And then we're going to have a chance for some nasty ones out in Chicago by around 8, 9, 10 o'clock p.m. or so. The whole thing, we're going to redo it again tomorrow, just a little bit farther toward the south, if anything. It's a very persistent summer-like pattern where you get these nasty, severe storms up in the north, and very often the biggest threat is damaging wind.
All right, so there's that warning for you if you're pretty much look like, I mean, all the Midwest essentially, plus maybe some northern Kentucky places, stuff like that, might have some issues. I have not seen any videos come out on the YouTube of any of this, but that's a pretty good flooding up there on those areas. So that's something to look out for more, it says. So look out for more. Hey, good morning, Poison. How's it going? Good Father's Day. I'm waiting to drop my vlog here shortly. It'll be out from the weekend. Right, Brain Prep, how's it going? You drank wine. No big surprise. Well, we don't want to, stay out. We don't want to break the norm. We got to stay predictable, right? Hey, hope you're having a good one. So yeah, pretty much they were saying all along the area here, like from Omaha across to Pennsylvania, to look out for. So there's that. Anybody got any news they're seeing on their radar, let me know. I've only got a couple things pulled up here. As you can see, your links in the description box. If you want to get ahead of me a little bit. So first, I wanted to peek into this shooting in Trenton, New Jersey that went down yesterday. It's kind of stood out as an anomaly. You don't usually have these things on semi-holidays. You know, you might have them on the big holidays like Thanksgiving or Christmas, but you don't usually have them on the weird off holidays. And I wanted to look and see if they talk about a church and stuff. I didn't know. I don't have any details, so I'm kind of informing myself as what was going on. So I guess it was in New Jersey. It says here, dispute between rival gang members. A shooting that erupted in early morning hours of a popular all-night arts festival. Gang members are going to art festivals. Okay, see, stuff just doesn't make sense. Okay, I guess he's speaking after Sunday services at his church, maybe. Saying it should stemmed from a low-end neighborhood level dispute. Yeah, 22 injured is a pretty high number. Thousands were in attendance. The dispute quickly turned into a mass shooting event involving multiple weapons. So they're going to add this to gun violence at large gatherings. Pretty much you're not going to be able to meet in groups larger than 3 or 4. I mean, they're just going to ban that outright. New Jersey obviously has a left-wing governor. Governor's bragging that he even signed 6 stringent gun laws last week. They're going to find we're a long way from cracking the back of this senselessness because they don't understand what that senselessness is. That's their problem. They don't recognize evil for what it is. They think that some inanimate object causes people to go out and do crazy things. They don't people realize people are crazy. The deceased suspect was identified as Tahaji Wells, 33. Wells was released from prison and on parole since February on homicide-related charges. Nice. So that's the guy that died in the event. So maybe somebody came back for some retribution. One person in custody, Amir Armstrong, 23, who's been charged with weapons offenses, who got charged with shooting everybody. I guess Mr. Armstrong is still in hospital in stable condition, so he got shot by somebody. A third unidentified suspect was hospitalized in critical condition. Anybody have seen any other articles on this? Because this stuff just doesn't make no sense. They've arrested somebody on weapons charges, but they haven't arrested anybody for actually shooting the people. They were looking into a timeline of posts on Facebook concerning the event. There's all kinds of stuff they're wrapping into this. Large gatherings, parolees, guns, art events. I mean, who knows? There's a timeline on Facebook, so now the more even social media spying is more justified now, of course. So you can stop these things. At least 3 suspects began shooting about 2:45 a.m. at the Art All Night Festival held at the Roebling Wireworks building. 22 injured, 17 by gunfire. So I guess people hurt themselves trying to evade, falling on people, whatever. Who knows? Shooting spilled into outside areas of the art event. Yeah, this is a good example of talk about carrying whenever you are, wherever you are. I mean, you go to an art event at 2:45 in the morning and it gets shot up. Like, who would have thought, right? Gang-related quotes. Gang-related disputes. Multiple suspects were shooting at one another. Oh. Several weapons were found at the scene, including a handgun outfitted with an extended capacity magazine. I think we can all pretty much guess what that was. I would put my money on a Glock with what's an extended round on a 9mm for a Glock 40 round magazine. That's where my money would be at on that one. This is going to be the dumb statement of the day. It is not known yet where the guns came from and whether they were illegally obtained. You're in New Jersey, buddy. They were illegally obtained. Either they lied to get them or they bought them somewhere else. They're being in New Jersey. They're illegal automatically with that extended magazine. So probably the rest of them are probably such similar ones. The assistant art person there said it was a scene of chaos. People shot in the leg, shot in the head. Just trails of blood, full of blood splatter all over. Oh, and at this event, there were alcohol. An art event with alcohol, I guess they drink their wine when they're having these events, right? Alcohol sales usually end at 1 a.m., but this year they ran out of alcohol at 11 p.m. Teetotalers. Entire crowd estimated to see the event was 5,000 to 10,000. Estimates that 1,000 people were present at the time of the shooting. So gangbangers are going to art events to throw down with each other. There's also a suspected carjacking at the time of the gunfire. It's not known whether that was connected or not. Probably somebody trying to get out of there, jack somebody's car. That's got to be the most bizarre shooting I think I've ever heard of. In a long time, at least, as far as the anomalies that are all put together there. What's the side chat say? Mr. Tommy Boy 9, good morning. How you doing? Oh, Tommy Boy, I'm not going to talk about that because it's a distraction. That's my thoughts on that. It's a policy. It's been long-standing. All criminals get separated from their families. It's nothing unusual. Yeah. But anyway, that's apparently what you guys want. Some affluent gangbangers, right? 33 rounds is the happy stick capacity for the Glock 9mm. I mean, I guess some gangbangers might go fancy. Or I'm trying to think of what a really low end, high capacity magazine wielding weapon might be, but I would just stick with a Glock, I would imagine. But they say they found that extended capacity. But in New Jersey, I think you're limited to 9-round magazines. So it's either 10 or 9-round magazines. So a standard capacity would be considered as extended capacity in New Jersey. So that might be a sticking point here of semantics. We don't know ultimately about that. 15 gunshot wounds were treated at Capital Health System. 2 were treated at St. Francis Medical Center, 1 for a gunshot wound. Oh, here's the mayor getting in the fight. Mayor's right on cue, got his cue cards out. Bam. This isn't just a random act of violence. This is a public health issue. Yeah, it looks pretty random to me, buddy. You got art events getting shot up in the middle of the morning. That's random. But obviously people's Who would have thought two gangs would be going to the all-night art event at the same time? All about tougher gun laws here in the later section of the article. They bring in Mothers Against Violence, the newly elected council member who was a member. She's been working for 25 years on the issue of tougher gun laws. We need to focus on how to prevent these from happening again, said the councilman, whose brother was a victim of gun violence and is now paralyzed from the waist down. Representative of the 4th District there, Representative Murphy, called for Congress to take action. More moms demand action. They're creating a world of what the world would look like without gun violence. Isn't that special? That's the gun violence people. The New Jersey Moms Demand Action is doing that. I wonder if they're going to do a mural on what the world would look like without abortion. That would be even more significant. It's quite drastically more significant. But it's touch and go. So the event curator, the mood. So here's the event curator's observations. The mood was really heavy. More pot smoking. We noticed more drugs, more homeless people going around begging for money, just little things like that. The atmosphere had gotten kind of gloomy. All these elite upper crust art people just couldn't handle the regular folks coming around, I guess. This gentleman said he left early with friends because the mood seemed to change. He says when he got there around 10:30, 11, it was very nice. So culturally diverse. And it was so nice to see it bringing so many people together. Then, as the night went on, everything just took a turn. So there were indicators here. They knew it was coming. There were a couple of small fights breaking out, people arguing on the line, people arguing in line from the bumping into each other, etc. Then there were larger fights where people were actually running towards the fight, like in high school. When we saw a bunch of people running, we got out of there. Then about 20 minutes later, there was a shooting. So this is all precipitated by a fight, and nobody did anything about it, I guess. So it was a gang event, and nobody wanted to make the call. Whatever. Yep, 30. New Jersey, probably 17 round stinger. That doesn't make sense. I think New Jersey's been on the assault weapon bandwagon since the old days. Pretty sure 10 rounds is the max. So art festival has a fight. Nobody really intervenes or does anything, and then it precipitates into a shootout. All right, so there's that article down there. It looks like, so there's that article down there. It looks like, I didn't know gang members are coming with so high rollers. Everybody was happy to see everybody until the fight broke out. But affluent gangbangers, yeah, right. Right, Stinger. I don't think there's anything with 17 rounds allowed in New Jersey. That doesn't pass. So one other thing I had pulled up here before I go on a rant about more about the Walmart Latino youth training facilities, as Bright Brain Prep brings up, the migrant crisis in Europe has boiled down to Italy telling everybody else to pack sand. You shut up. Italy rejecting 2 more non-governmental organization migrant ships. Merkel may be on the verge of losing her job in Germany, which sounds very surprising. But here's Italy demanded on Saturday that the Netherlands recall 2 NGO-operated migrant transport ships. They're flying the Dutch flag. That's why they called them, I guess. Okay. The Interior Minister of Italy warned that they would not be allowed to dock in Italian ports. And there was some more of this rejection that happened during the last couple weeks. Italy's falling apart economically as well. If you haven't been privy to that, their financial crisis is getting out of hand. So the blocked NGO ships come on the heels of Italy's refusal to take in a boat full of 629 shipwrecked migrants picked up off the coast of Libya, a move ushered in by the Italian government's new populist coalition headed by Salvini. So that's that other boat, I believe, that they rejected. Yeah, why? I mean, you're in Libya. You're going to go all the way across the Med to take these migrants, these people to Italy, instead of you're in Italy, you're in Libya, leave them in Libya. Everybody feels sad. So Salvini gets called a fascist on social media. He fires back. You're not going to stop us with insults. Italian Foreign Affairs Minister Milanesi said the issue of migrants is epic and Europe has remained detached for years about it, having inappropriate procedures in place before this issue became so severe. On Saturday, France agreed to accept some of the 629 migrants from 26 countries. How do you get so many migrants from 26 different countries on one boat? Unless you're doing it on purpose. There was a spat between Macron, the French leader, and Italian authorities, which led to Spain agreeing to take them in. After Italian, so Salvini refused to accept the vessels. Macron said that Italy was playing politics with the migrants. Because I guess it's EU policy and you're supposed to follow EU policies regardless of your individual country's problems or issues or desires. Even though the EU is set up as an economic thing, it's become a lot more than that, obviously. So the Italian Prime Minister shot back at Macron after this, saying, Italy cannot accept hypocritical lessons from countries that have always preferred to turn their backs when it comes to immigration. They're shifting gears here in the middle of this article. to Merkel's issues being in trouble. This is coming. They're bringing it over from BBC World reports and Bloomberg, it looks like. Yeah, it talks about here the Austria is preparing for strict and aggressive maneuvers against unchecked migration. That we were seeing that article last week. So Merkel's at odds with her conservative Bavarian allies, who are known as the Christian Social Union. The term conservative in Germany means a lot more different than it does here. As Bloomberg reports, the executive of the Bavarian Party, an ally of Merkel's government, will pass a resolution Monday approving rebel Interior Minister Seehofer's plan to turn away more refugees at Germany's borders. So the entire EU's up in rebellion over this thing now, finally. Only 10 years too late, probably. Merkel has been given a 2-week deadline to gain the support of EU partners, or Seehofer will execute the order unilaterally. So it's a 2-week laying the law down on Merkel to do this or else. We'll see who really runs the show. It's just like, what was that other issue last week? It was with Great Britain to see who really, with Brexit coming up, they're supposed to be executing the Brexit plan, but is that really going to go through? We'll see who's really in charge. Just like with this, if Merkel's able to avoid removal from office as a prime minister and still sidestep this issue, it'll tell a lot. There were stories in Britain over the weekend of UKIP leader being replaced over the immigration, Tommy Robinson issue, etc. And that's what they're calling the populist wave throughout Europe. Populist uprising, as it says it here. As it quotes here a Sunday Times article. Is Sunday Times German, or is it? Oh, they're talking about the Times UK paper, the Sunday Times. On immigration, Italy's populists are the future. Merkel is the past. Not surprisingly, the graph shows Italy has the most arrivals by sea, with them coming from Algeria, Tunisia, and Libya. So it's just an overwhelming. I mean, I guess you can say the numbers don't look that large when you think about arrivals by sea this year: 9,600 in Spain, 15,000 Italy, 12,000 Greece. You got to think these are tiny countries. And I mean, these are basically U.S. states, and some of their population numbers and sizes, and they're not California size. These are smaller states. Italy might landmass wise be, because it's so long, comparable, but then to add this number of people that with no support and just take care of them all. And this is just for 1 year. Imagine this has been going on for many years. And then you get all the stuff happening in Eastern Europe too, with the surge of it's an invasion, folks. Can anybody view this as just a normal part of doing business? It's just a natural process or anything like that. It doesn't make any sense. It is an invasion. So that article's in your links down below. This is a good way to end the article. Never forget, Gaddafi wanted a scant 5 billion euros a year to keep North African migrants out of Europe. Alas, Hillary Clinton and the French were hell-bent on taking him out. Yes, so Libya was going to take care of business, and he got taken out. Tie-ins everywhere. The past affects the future. Indeed. So that situations continue to evolve. We'll see if anybody actually keeps anybody out or not. There's lots of anecdotal stories, but you never see any proof in the results. So the migrant children issue, has got a lot of social media and news play over the weekend, over the reports of separating migrant families. Article here, Homeland Security Chief slams irresponsible reports on separation of migrant families. So we'll click through that one. That's probably a fairly accurate statement. But it's like it's been noted, the treatment of people who commit crimes, they're often separated from their families and put in terrible government conditions. The governments don't do a good job of taking care of people. That's a problem. But the Homeland Security Chief had something to say about this. So let's check in on this. So the Trump administration fired back on its criticism of immigration policy. Trump deflected criticism. I'm really concerned about that. Pictures of the facilities. This is ABC News, so we kind of know how that will go. The current policy, they say, stems from Trump administration's zero tolerance towards people crossing the border illegally. As migrants who illegally cross the border await trial, their children are separated from them and sent to a separate facility while their parents go through their criminal process, just like any other criminal. I guess Nielsen is this Homeland Security Secretary. The Homeland Security Secretary states here in the end of her tweet, as I have said many times before, if you are seeking asylum for your family, there is no reason to break the law and illegally cross between ports of entry. Yeah, if you're seeking asylum, there would be no reason for that. Second, saying, we do not have a policy of separating families at the border. So this is becoming, there was another, there was a crisis, 2015? With large amount of migrant children coming out of Central America that had to be shuttled around different places and whatnot, and they were kept on army bases and such like that, or old closed down facilities. So she went on to say there's continued policy of we will only separate if the child is in danger, there is no custodial relationship, or if the adult has broken a law, which is anybody crossing illegally. Because yeah, that's a good point. When people cross the border illegal, you don't know if they're being trafficked or not. How do you know if a lot of these kids are held against their will or not, unless you separate them? You have to separate them for just the fact of getting, the information to figure out if they're involved in trafficking or just following their family members. At ports of entry, again, it's not happening at places of points of entry. That's why you go to points of entry to come in legally. So it's a big mess. A lot of this being just used for political points, I think. So that's a recent article on that. I haven't really looked into it, but just because it seems like such a distraction of things that have been done in the past that just get highlighted when one side does it or the other. Somebody takes offense to it. Umbrage, if you will. It's not going to really change much policy-wise or otherwise, functionally, without actions by Congress. Because ultimately, unless they're breaking the rules that Congress established, it's kind of all left up to the agencies to enact their rules to enforce it. Like, here's an article talking about the previous administration's way to keep the way they kept kids that were crossing the border. This was out of the Post on March 11th, 2015. Yeah, that was when the big crisis hit. So yeah, that's it's been going on for years, and people trying to gain political hit points on some of these issues. Look at the time, folks. Look at the time. So thanks for checking in. Hope everybody, again, had a good Father's Day. Poison Stinger seemed to be the most commented. He gets the star for the day. Congratulations. You missed out on You Can Do It's stellar performance on Saturday. You could have tried to replicate that, but we'll give you a star for your minimal performance today. How's that sound? Oh, you're talking about, you thought they wanted us out of the petrodollar. You're talking about Libya when we killed Gaddafi? Is that what you're talking about, Stinger? Well, yeah, that was a big reason, but it's kind of funny how things tie in when Gaddafi's willing to take care of, because he was wanting to make the pan-African currency, a Saharan Africa and a currency of some sort backed by gold. Yeah, he was working on that. I do remember that. But it's funny the after effects things like that have when, well, he was willing to take care of all these migrant problems that now are a big problem too. Well, not only was it a oil for dollar thing, now you got this migrant invasion going on. It's all steamrolls. So you get doubly screwed. So there's some of your past history on the separation of the kids from their moms and dads, and everybody feeling all sorry for them, etc. Their folks don't end up. Looks like there's more coming for all this Midwest area. Like we were watching that video at the earliest, there's lots of flooding up there in Michigan and whatnot. Stay safe. Watch where you're going. Don't try to drive through water that's rushing across the road, etc. don't bug out if you don't have to. All those good things. Like, be careful for sure. But many more storms are coming, it looks like. Tommy Boy gets the star for rolling SIGs. Okay, you can give yourself a star, I guess. Hey, good morning, Yankee. How you doing? You just popping in? Thanks for jumping in. We're kind of wrapping it up. You got links below in the description box if you want to check out any of the things we talked about. Shooting incident in New Jersey, which is just a very big anomaly. But obviously the gun control issue, they're going to try to bring out. Tommy Boy's rolling large, 66 in just 30 minutes, huh? You're a professional. Oh, that doesn't sound good, Yankee. Worms all over. That doesn't sound good at all. What do you use to control things? You try to run mostly organic and use some type of sprays or something? I hear peppermint stuff works really well around perimeters and stuff, but if you're actually on your plants, I don't know what the programming is for something like that. Yeah, not nice. I think Poison was talking about nice for Tommy Boy's achievement for rolling SIGs, though. Oh, yeah, so you just collect them up and feed them to the chickens or whatever. Yeah, that's soap. Oh, soap solution. Yeah, Barry. I've heard of things like that. What do you use, Dawn, or what kind of soap do you use to get a solution going? Sorry, folks, we interrupt this news for some homesteading tips. I was just wondering if there was like a certain soap that you use to Dawn and to, yeah, okay, Dawn and water, right? The standard is pretty much common. Do for just everything. Hey Barry, how you doing this morning? Thanks for checking in. You may have been lurking in the background this whole time and I didn't know it. So I hope you enjoyed your morning news. Go out, have a good day. Stay out of the rain if you're in the upper half of the country. June bug larva. They have June bugs in Arizona, Poison. You guys are all over the place. Huh. Hey, ZPD, how you doing? Hey, we were just checking in on some of that weather earlier from Michigan. Looked like I had a lot of flooding. Were you anywhere near any of that? Looked pretty significant up there in the upper Midwest, Michigan, Wisconsin, etc. You need to check in with the video sometime, Stinger. I haven't seen a video out lately. We don't know what your progress is like. So not in your area. Hey, Poison, how's your water haul situation working too with the summer kicking in and the heat? It'd be good to you gotta update us on that stuff. How your progress is going. I got to learn from your mistakes. Maybe I'll be able to implement something in the future. All right, folks. I really got to roll out. Thanks for checking in. Again, have a great day. Live free.